I don't know if they're just going above and beyond to try to prove that they like black quarterbacks, and so this absolves them from the obvious decision that they're not going to make in drafting Shedeur Sanders, right? Like, well, it's not because he's black, because we got 2 black quarterbacks on the roster. I think that that's what they're doing right here. They're playing defense with their offense.
All right, for the first time in New York Giants history, they could have a black quarterback starting in their season opener this week. Russell Wilson inked a 1-year deal with the Giants worth up to $21 million, with 10.5 of that fully guaranteed, and he fully expects to be the starter. Rodney, is Russell Wilson the answer for the New York Giants?
Well, what's the question before I say if he's the answer? He's no, I mean, not long term, obviously. Like, hopefully, he's not a long term solution. I don't understand why they signed him when they just signed Jameis Winston. I don't know if they're trying to prove, because it had been a narrative that has ran over the last year or two, or something that I actually subscribe to, that the New York Giants do not like black quarterbacks. They've only had one ever win a football game for them. And so I don't know if they're just going above and beyond to try to prove that they like black quarterbacks, and that's why. And so this absolves them from the obvious decision that they're not going to make in drafting Shedeur Sanders, right? Like, well, it's not because he's black, because we got 2 black quarterbacks on the roster. I think that that's what they're doing right here. They're playing defense with their offense, which is an interesting strategy. As a retired Giants fan, I'm not impressed. I thought Russell Wilson had a better year last year than many expected, but at the end of the day, like, he doesn't move the needle at all, not a little bit.
He had a little bit of success with the Steelers. He technically won that quarterback battle, which many people think that Justin Fields had some clause in his contract why they didn't play him. But he won the battle. He started a few games, or the season mostly, won a few games, and then he lost the last 5 games of the season. So for him, he wants to be somebody's franchise quarterback. He kind of is at the tail end of his career, though. So for him, though, he needs to come in and, at least for this 1 year, prove that he can be somebody's franchise quarterback. He can be that guy. It'll be really interesting, though, to see what the Giants do with the 3rd overall pick. If the Titans, for whatever reason, decide to get like Abdul Carter, for instance, and then you still have 2 quarterbacks on the board, would they draft Shedeur or Cam Ward if they're still available?
Yeah, I don't think so.
And see, that's what I'm gonna say. That's what would be really crazy if they didn't do that.
Yeah, I think they probably go Travis Hunter.
Okay.
They get another receiver to play opposite of Malik Nabers, and also get somebody who can be potentially a shutdown cornerback as well. I don't know what they do. I do not think they're going to draft a quarterback. I don't see it. I don't see it in the cards. I don't think that anybody has been too sold on Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders for very different reasons. As far as Russell Wilson being a franchise quarterback going forward, I just don't see that. I think he's a phenomenal guy to nurture a young quarterback under. He's an extreme professional. And even though I think it's been said that he has some personality quirks that have been challenging for some of his teammates, I don't know what current iteration or version of him currently exists, right? He's wearing cooler clothes because he's married to Sierra. But, I think that he's a transitional quarterback the rest of the way. And I don't think that he'll find a home per se. I think he'll continue to be on 1-year deals and be a holdover quarterback for a franchise not looking to completely tank, but looking for some moderate level of decency at the quarterback position, while also having a consummate professional behind center. And I think that's just what his fortune is going forward.
That's going to be a really interesting quarterback room, too, with Jameis and Tommy DeVito in there.
It's going to be a lot of praise and worship. A lot of praise and worship in that locker room. You know what? I'm excited to see what happens with Malik Nabers. Nah, for sure. For Malik Nabers, though, I'm excited to see what he looks like with a little bit more arm talent, right? Like, not being so reliant, not having to be reliant on Danny Dimes and his mediocrity. Maybe he can find a connection. More than likely, it'll be with Jameis than Russ, I feel like, because Jameis is a risk taker and Russ is kind of averse to risk. I feel like Jameis would just throw the ball up and say, "Hey, Malik, go get it." And so I think that would actually be really beneficial for him in his second NFL season. So I'm excited to see what happens for Malik specifically. But we could have another Saquon Barkley situation in our hands as well. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, if the Giants did draft a black quarterback, would you Would you go back over there?
No, because no, you know what? I abandoned my fanhood. I'm not a fan of anything anymore.
Hmm.
I'm a fan of sport.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
individual teams, I'm not with. You know, I've been really invested in tennis. I'm a fan of certain individuals in tennis, and I'm an individual fan going forward in perpetuity. Like, I just want to be a fan of individual people, but not teams, because that means that I have to be in alignment with a machine, and I'm not gonna do that. So,
That we
go people that I
go.
like, people that I like, people that I like.
Oh
Let's
my
go,
gosh.
people.
Um, I think that this is also one of the few times that the top quarterbacks are black, right? That are projected to go off the board. This is very rare. We don't really see that too often. I have noticed the way that.
We had this a couple years ago. Well, last year we had this last year. The last 2 years, we've had a swell of black quarterbacks. You got to think about Jaden Daniels
No, no,
and
no.
C.J. Stroud
Well, I was saying with the
and
top, like the only, like really the only.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, I'm saying, but the only people that we're talking about are two black. There will always be like some white people in the mix. Not to say that they're not. We have seen like quarterbacks go first or whatever, but like it's rare. Anyways, I'm saying it's interesting to see how like people have been talking about, scouts have been talking about Cam and Shedeur. Specifically, one scout called Cam Ward doughy in his physique.
That's fair. I don't. They've called. I'm over here. You got me over here protecting whiteness, but I gotta call a spade a spade. Like, I've heard other people be referred to as doughy. Like, that's the thing. If his body ain't in shape, his body ain't in shape. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fair statement.
But when have we ever
I'm
seen
not.
a
I'm
quarterback like ripped up?
Ben Roethlisberger.
No. I'm not saying
Oh, you
no.
mean ripped up?
Yeah,
What you? We've had some guys come into the league that were physical specimens. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, even.
Patrick
Like,
Mahomes has
there's
abs.
been quarterbacks. No, not
Patrick
abs, but
Mahomes gives a
he
little. He gives a little dough.
that's his new body, not coming out of college. His not coming out of college.
His
Pat Mahomes' success has swelled his belly. He wasn't always built like this. Okay, he not. Yeah, he got championships, so he don't mind a little gut. But in general, we've had some quarterbacks that are yeah, physical specimens for sure. And I think based on Cam Ward's like athleticism, they probably were surprised that his
Mm,
body structure is what it is. You know, so I think that you don't necessarily expect the guy with a little fat on his body to be able to move with such agility and such speed.
okay. Well, I was just curious because I saw that and I was like, doughy. I don't think that I've ever seen that before, but okay.
It's a thing.
Well, I'm really
It's a thing.
excited for the
Yeah.
draft, which is in about a month, actually, almost to the day or to the day. So it's going to be really interesting to see who goes first or the top three picks. But we want to hear from you all on Russell Wilson signing this really nice contract with the New York Giants. Is he what this team needs? Or is this more an instance where he can prove himself for other teams? Let us know.